Well, welcome to the GivingRocket.com webinar. My name is Casey Graham, and I'm the founder of GivingRocket.com. And today we're going to talk about a bunch of different things on this webinar, but primarily what we're going to focus on is how to talk about money without ticking people off, because people do seem to get ticked off in churches when we talk about money. I know when I was a CFO at a church, and every time we talk about money, we literally see people stand up and leave when we started talking about it, especially when we started asking for it. And so today's webinar, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. Usually we have a very compact step-by-step system. Today we're going to give you 3 or 4 different strategies to use and different ways to talk. This isn't going to be just about preaching or just about how to communicate with people and direct mail and through your website and that. It's going to be about all of it. So we're going to give you a good overview of how to talk about money proactively in your church. And so I'd like to introduce myself. I'm the founder of GivingRocket.com, and essentially the bottom line of GivingRocket is we help churches increase giving. So if you want to increase your giving, that's what GivingRocket.com is. And so that's what I do. We'll tell you a little bit more about what we do later. And I'm a founder of a company called Mag Bookkeeping. And I'm basically a serial entrepreneur and starting many different things that serve the church and actually serve businesses as well. So we love to help. We love to do things that help churches, but specifically our heart and our heartbeat and our mission is to help churches with this whole money issue, whether it's with Giving Rocket, increasing giving, or Mag Bookkeeping, managing it and doing a good job with that and outsourcing the bookkeeping to Mag. That's what I'm involved in every single day of my life. And so those two things. I co-authored a book called Funded and Free. And that is a book I co-authored with one of my good friends named Joe Sengel, and so you can pick that up at Amazon. And that's a what we call a toilet bowl book for finances. And so the reason why we call it that is that you can keep it around your toilet, and that's where you can read the thing. So it is a short, easy read, but very, very, very practical and insightful to help you with practical things to increase giving in your church. I want you to hit me up on Twitter right now. If you have a Twitter account, I am at Casey Graham, and you can see it right there. And here's what I want you to do. This is typical in all of our Giving Rocket stuff, especially for our member stuff. We definitely get fired up. I want you just to let me know that you are fired up right now and ready to listen and learn about how to talk about money in your church. So that's at Casey Graham. Hit me up right now. I'd love to connect with you. Or you can like our Facebook page and get some insider info there, and you can see Casey hyphen and then Graham right there. So that's me. And tell me who you are on Twitter. Tell me who you are on Facebook. I want to connect with you. I spend my time doing that. I actually run the customer service side of things for our organizations, and I love to connect with you and connect with people. Any questions, anything you have throughout the webinar today, we want you to tweet those, and our team will be responding as we go through this, and we will be letting you know if we can answer your question now, or we'll have to answer it later after it, and we're going to be involved in it. So just want to introduce myself. Love to connect with you guys, and let's talk about let's jump into this and talk about GivingRocket.com. Here's what we're here to help your church do. In case you're wondering, if you're new to this, if you're new to me, is that we are here to help your church increase giving 11% to 39%. Now, this is not increase your capital campaign giving. This is your regular giving in your church. And we do that within a 12-month period consistently over and over again. So that's our purpose. That's what's going to be driving the call today. And that's what we do with all of our members in our membership program, definitely in a deeper way, is helping them increase the regular giving. So that's where we're going to focus today. This is not monkey business. This isn't monkey business. This is no shenanigans. This isn't crazy. This stuff really does work. And so let me just give you a couple of stories that we've seen come in of people who've been just like you, who've listened to a webinar and applied the things that we talk about, and take a look at some of these things. I got this email, and so we wanted to not just take it and type it in here. I wanted to show you the email. This is unsolicited. This came in from a guy named Jeremy Self, and you got his email address right there, and you have my email address right there. So you can email me or email him if you want to. At Free Chapel in Austin, and the subject was Giving Rocket membership update, and he was responding to our Giving Rocket membership update. And here's what he said: numbers just in. Our giving is up by 20% from last quarter. Smiley face. I love it. Jeremy, that's awesome. He says, thanks, Casey, for your investment, JS. So he's applying what we're talking about, and it's working. This stuff works. Giving Rocket is also here to help you reduce stress with increased financial margin. One of the things that we've started to see, and especially what we're going to be talking about today, is that pastors have no idea how to create margin in their church. They have no idea to create it to where they're not living week to week to week to week. And the strategies we're going to give you today, we really do believe will help you tip over the scales in communicating about money year-round, offline, online, and definitely through your worship services. And so we'll talk about that, and we're going to help you have some margin. GivingRocket.com is here to kill the phrase, if we had more money, we could. Now, if you want to tweet what you had, if you had more money, you could tweet that to me at Casey Graham. Send it over to me right now. That's at Casey Graham. Send it over. If you had more money, you could. And I'm going to tell you what, we're going to help you eliminate that from your life, because we are tired of churches saying, if we had more money, we could. So we are here to eliminate it and kill that phrase. And so in a church that we're helping do that in, here's another one that came in just so you can see that this stuff works before we jump into the strategies. This is Ike Reigert, senior pastor of Piedmont Church in Atlanta, Georgia, and he saw a 63% increase in their weekly offerings and the average in one quarter. So that is a significant increase just by being intentional. And they added more than 15 new giving families, which is huge. Think about that. 15 new giving families. Just imagine if they gave $2,000 a year a piece as a family. That's a $30,000 increase just by adding some new families. And so some of the strategies we talk about today are going to be helpful with this. And so at any time in the call, if you want to jump in, ask questions or anything like that, remember, just go to Twitter and do it. But we just have stories after story after story after story of people actually doing this stuff. And so let's get fired up and let's help your church have this, which is more money for staff, facilities, and ministry. So we're here to help you with that. And so as we do the call today, and as we talk about this on this webinar, I want you to be thinking, who's that next staff person you're going to hire? What facility move do you need to make? What ministry do you need to fully fund? And we're going to take this and we're going to help you craft a vision and craft a ministry around funding the vision for your church. And so I'm going to pray about this, what we're talking about today, and then we're going to jump right in and we're going to get after it and talking about how to talk about money without ticking everybody off, a healthy system. So God, thank you so much for everybody on the webinar today. Thank you so much that you've given us the opportunity to be here and to listen to this. And I just want to pray right now for every single person that's watching or listening to this, God, that you would just take the words that we talk about and what's going on. And I pray, God, that you would just use this message powerfully to move not only the budget, but God, people's heart in relation to the area of generosity and become more like your son, Jesus Christ. So we thank you for the churches that are seeing success and God, their vision's funded, but I pray for all of these churches that their vision would be fully funded. I know you care about that and you care about this a whole lot more than any of us do. And we just want to thank you for this opportunity today and technology to have a call like this. Amen. Amen. So let's get in. So the first question you need to be asking is, why are you talking about money in church? Just in general, why are you talking about money? And Andy Stanley said this. He said, you've got to want something for your people, not just something from your people. Want something for your people, not just something from your people. Now, Andy Stanley is my pastor, and if Andy says it, I do it because he is the best, man. I love my pastor, and he does a great job at communicating. And North Point does a fantastic job of communicating vision year round. And when it comes to finances, guys, here's the deal. We've got to want something for our people, not just something from them. And so when we talk about increasing budget and having more money for ministry, I know at the end of the day, that's what we want. I know at the end of the day, we want to be freed up organizationally. But I'm going to tell you right now, the churches that are getting it right and fully funding the vision that they have for their church and for their different ministries and for staff and all that, the most fully funded churches that I know of, they are proactive and help wanting something for their people, not just something from their people. This is huge ramifications, because if we go out and we start talking about money consistently and we send mail and we send emails and we have website stuff and we preach about it and we do all this kind of stuff, and if your heart is not connected into wanting something for them to free them up and to help them follow Jesus deeply. Now that's what I say. Matthew chapter 6 says, where your treasure is, your life will follow. It says, where you put your money, your life will follow. And this is the biggest discipleship strategy that we can help with, is people being generous and giving that money away and moving their heart toward a relationship with Jesus. And you're like, oh, I know, Casey, move on. No. do this. Pray about this. Actually ask God to help you want something for your people, not just something from them. Why should you talk about money? Well, there are more than 800 scriptures on money in the Bible. Did you know that? Over 800. Now, guys, that's fantastic for us, because this isn't something that, people just blame churches. Hey, it's all about money and all that kind of stuff. Well, to be completely honest, there is a big portion of it where it's about the money. And the reason why is because Scripture has 800 scriptures about money. And so, guys, you've got to, if you're listening to this right now, I just want to give you permission to just understand that you have biblical authority in this. Now, you got to do it the right way, and we'll talk about that, but you have biblical backing that this is so important. This is so central to the faith. This is not a sidebar. This is not a cute series once a year, but this is central to helping people become like Jesus. And when we get that, that's what turns up the generosity in churches. That's what allows us to talk about money without ticking people off. But when you just start asking for money and just trying to get something from people, that's what ticks people off. And so we'll talk about how not to do that. So there's over 800 scriptures. The other thing is that Jesus taught on money a lot. He taught on money. I mean, it's like almost all of his parables, it seems like we're talking about money. I mean, parable of the talents, Matthew 25, rich young ruler. I mean, you talk about something that's not seeker sensitive. Check out the rich young ruler. The guy comes to him who seemingly is not a follower of his yet and says, hey, I do all this good stuff, but what do I do? And Jesus says, go sell everything and give it to the poor. That's not seeker sensitive, guys. That's not something that's just like a warm, fuzzy message. And they said the guy walked away sad. He wasn't happy about it. Now, he wasn't mad at Jesus. He wasn't ticked off. He was just disappointed that his heart wasn't there. Okay? And so the rich young ruler story is huge in this. Our heart follows our money. Matthew 6, like we talked about earlier. It's easier for the camel than the rich man. That whole story. Matthew 19, the widow's mite, perfume poured on Jesus' feet. I mean, you just look scripture after scripture after scripture. And then when we look at our teaching calendars, my question is this: how often are we teaching on money? What are we doing to help people off the worship service with money? Jesus spent his life, his public ministry, for 3 years walking around talking about resources, talking about money, and talking about people's time. How often are we doing this? I actually did a study about a year ago, and we found out that the average church only talks about money in a public format about 90 minutes a year. I couldn't believe it. And so when hearing that, no wonder our churches are broke. No wonder our churches are struggling financially. No wonder you can't make that next move. No wonder you feel like it's always the same old, same old. No wonder people are getting ticked off about this, because you come up out of the ground, you talk about it for 90 minutes, 3 different sermons a year or something like that, and then you go away. You've got to create a culture where you talk about money a lot. Jesus talked about it a lot. And so the key question I would be asking if I were you is, okay, Casey, now that's all the theory, whatever, but get practical with me. When should you talk about money? Now, guys, I really want you to get this. So write it down, tweet it, do whatever you need to do, but just to remember what we're about to talk about in this segment, because it's going to be huge and practical in helping you with your money. And here's what it is that you have an awesome opportunity in the new year to communicate with people about finances, because there's 5 cycles of generosity, and obviously we don't have time to get into all of that today, but the New Year cycle produces a great opportunity for us to talk about. There's 2 emotional driving factors happening around the new year. And the first one is regret. People regretting financial decisions from their past year, especially from Christmas holiday seasons, just the way it is. And then also making resolutions. Regret and resolution are driving new year emotion. That's why people sign up for gym memberships. That's why marketers go crazy around the new year. That's just the way it is, okay? And so we have that going on in culture, and that's what the 5 cycles are based on. There's the New Year cycle, pre-summer, summer, fall, and holiday. And this cycle, the emotions, our culture is already moving toward making a New Year's commitment. That's what it is. And so we want to help in this area specifically. And here's what we would tell you to do. This is very, 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 very practical. Is to do a 4-part message series on personal finances. Now, here's the 4 different messages I would do. I would do a message on spending And I would talk about how every spending decision is a spiritual decision. And you can help people understand spending. Help people, don't just preach on greed and you shouldn't buy stuff and you need to live out in the middle of nowhere and not have anything or any of that kind of stuff. But help people understand spending. Help people understand that every spending decision is a spiritual decision. Because Jesus said where our treasure is, our heart would follow. And so our spending decision is a spiritual decision. The number 2 message you want to talk about is debt. Borrower is servant to the lender. And so you have the opportunity to talk about the debt issue and to talk about it and practically help them in your weekend services. Now, this is doing something for people, not just asking something from them, okay? This is what allows you the opportunity to not tick people off. There's not a person there that's going to be ticked off if you help them with their spending, their debt, and especially number 3, their savings. Talking about savings, talking about living with margin, talking about how it's not an evil thing to have a savings account or a 401k plan, and to talk about how in Scripture, out of those 800 Scriptures, you can look at the prudence of Scripture and the prudence of saving up, not hoarding, but the prudence of saving. And you have the opportunity to talk about that and help people with that. Number 4, you talk about giving. Talk about giving and these are the 4 things we can do with our money. And if you have a series based around these 4 things, this is going to build massive, what we call relational equity with the donors and the disciples, the people in our church. Is going to build equity with them. And so when it comes time to make an ask, you've built into them and not just ask for something from them. And so this series is huge. My friend Joe Sangle does a good job helping churches with this kind of stuff. And so you may want to talk to Joe. You can just Google Joe or go to his website. But he does a great job with personal financial stuff. And so this is a great opportunity at the beginning of the year. So go ahead and put it on your calendar to talk about it. And some people say, well, should I talk about the vision of my church? Well, you can if you want to. But this is going to be a practical series with a bunch of new people coming back. You can do it in a fun way, but teach what the Bible talks about finances and help people with their personal finances, okay? Put it on your calendar. I promise this will help, and it will help. And also, a fringe benefit of this is it will increase giving in your church. At the end of the series on the giving talk, on the very last day, I would do what a bunch of people have done that works really well, or you can do a couple different things. But one thing that works well is like a tithe challenge, or bring the tithe day, where you just have people just say, hey, just tithe for one day. Let's see what can happen if we tithe for one day. And so those are the 4 things I would do. Another one, this is now. This is right now. Something that I would be doing. And my church, North Point, just did this, and it's a fantastic thing that they did. But a midsummer financial update. A midsummer financial update that's a printed piece, and just like we have here from New Spring Church, Pastor Perry Noble, of what they've done. And you can get theirs, you can pick theirs up at newspring.cc/annual report. Or if you were a member of Giving Rocket, we have tons of these in our resource vault. Different churches that have different flows, different ways to do it. But pick up a little designer, and it's basically an annual report. It's not just financial, but you do it in a very good way. And I suggest you take a look at some of these examples that helps people understand the vision of your church and how the money is being spent and how it's affecting people's lives. Now, you'd say, why would you do that in the middle of the summer? Well, it gives you an opportunity while the giving is down to have something to talk about. And so I would spend significant time in a weekend service talking through this and actually turn this report into a message. So write that down, do it. I don't know what to say. Change your message series calendar, but I would have a message on finances where you talk about, here's where we are financially. It's midway through the year. I want to talk about this. And you'd say, you talk about that to your church? Absolutely. Another thing this does is build loyalty and trust because you're being open about where the money is going and how. And the key with this is this isn't just a spreadsheet, but this is a visual representation of how many people have been baptized, how many children came to the Vacation Bible School or whatever you have at your church, and all that kind of stuff. And so it shows how the money is connecting with the ministry. Very important to do. Very important to do. And if you have any questions, remember, you can always tweet during these at Casey Graham. At Casey Graham is my Twitter account, and you tweet us up, and our team will be responding to help you, okay? The third time you want to talk about money is in the fall cycle. In the fall cycle. Now you would say, why would you want to talk about money in the fall cycle? Well, guys, it's really the best time of year to talk about money and actually ask for money. The fall cycle is, and so man, we don't have time to drill down into all of what I'm about to tell you, but this is a game changer. If you can look towards your fall in that October, November time period, that what we call a funding window is huge. And so you have an opportunity to do this. We call it a vision initiative. Do a vision initiative. And you would say, what in the world is a vision initiative? It's when people give over and above what they currently give to fund operational objectives. When people give over and above what they currently give to fund operational objectives, this is where churches are messing up. We're just saying, oh, tithe, 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 tithe. And we're hoping that people will start tithing, or we're hoping people will start giving more. What in reality, if that worked, it would have worked years and years and years and years ago, and you wouldn't be on this call because your church would be fully funded. Okay? And so a vision initiative is where you do a 3 to 4 week message series where you talk about the vision that you have and you see for the next 12 months of your church. And you would say, that's when you do that? Absolutely. You do it when you have the biggest crowds and you have big momentum after people come back from school, and you've got that October, November before Thanksgiving crowd, and you have an opportunity to make a financial ask. Now, the reason why this doesn't tick people off, and the reason why this is helpful, is because it's not just a series talking about the vision for your church, but it's also going to be talking about a vision for their life. And man, I have an entire intensive that I do that's a 48-hour deal where people come in, fly into Atlanta and all that kind of stuff, where we teach them how to do these vision initiatives. And next month we're releasing that as a resource, so you can have that. So you'll see more of that later. But at the end of the day, what you want to do is to have that 3 to 4 weeks. And so and we're going to be talking about that on next month's webinar. And so you definitely be on there and how to do it and that kind of thing. And so it's a huge opportunity to do a 3 to 4 week message series where you're preaching on what the vision of the church looks like, and you're giving them operational objectives. Operational objectives. And you say, what in the world is that? Well, you can talk about, hey, we need staff, or we need a building move, or whatever it is. But whatever the operational things are, you highlight those and you say, guys, we're going to give over and above for the next 12 months to these. And you say, is this a capital campaign? No, not at all. It's not a full-on capital campaign. Does it have some campaign qualities? Absolutely. But you want to do this every fall, and you can do it every fall because it's low intensity. You're going to make an ask, but it's a low intensity. Okay? A giving initiative isn't a shenanigan. And so my team is laughing about this, and I'm laughing because sometimes people think giving initiative is a shenanigan. It's one of those just little tricks that you do that tricks people into giving to your church or something. No. It works so well. Now take a look at, here's a couple of church and test case of people who've done vision initiatives where they've done a vision series, highlighted those operational objectives, and asked people to give over and above to them for the next 12 months. Pastor Zach White, he's a Giving Rocket member. He's a good friend of mine. He's in San Antonio, Texas at Revolution Church. At Cadillac Zach on Twitter is his name, and you can tweet him up or whatever. But the total needed for his project that he wanted to take in over 6 months that he didn't have before working with us and us helping him with this was $100,000 over 6 months. Guys, his leader's commitment of what he did for this giving initiative was $125,000. But check this out, guys. They're not even a couple years old, and they took up $85,000 in one day. Okay, one day. Now, I don't know the exact attendance of the church. I think it's about 200 or 300 people, but that's a significant amount of revenue for a church of that size to take up in one day by just doing a vision initiative and taking people through the process. Theirs was called Illuminate, and they did a great series on talking about illuminating their city for Jesus Christ, and our lives could as well. And so do that vision initiative is huge. Now, if you think a giving initiative in the fall won't work with unchurched people or the people that come to your church, check this out. Pastor Kerry Newhoff, he's a lead pastor of Connexus Community Church, and we worked with them, and their goal was to have margin and to be able to do more ministry. That was it. They didn't have a fund. They weren't trying to fund any projects. They just wanted to have margin. That's it. guys. That's it. And literally, they have increased their operational budget by doing a giving initiative and asking people to give over and above. And their ask was this: hey, we're sick of not having margin. And we want to live on with margin so that we can live on mission. And I thought Carrie wrote a great bottom line on that. And they've increased their operational budget by 22%. Also, they went from around the low 30s in their digital giving level, and they really have made that a part of this, is people automating the important. Now, that's a whole nother webinar that we've done. We teach people to automate their giving through your church's website. Very important. We do that stuff with our members all the time, but they've raised their digital giving level to over 50%. Now, that is huge for them because they are in Barrie, Ontario, Canada, the coldest stinking place. Now, please tweet me if you've ever been to Barrie, Ontario, Canada. It is the middle of nowhere, and it's freezing. It's an hour north of Toronto. Beautiful up there. Beautiful in the summer. Just got back from there. Actually did some mountain biking up there. It was fantastic. But at the same time, it's one of the coldest places I've ever been in the winter. And not only one of the coldest places in temperature, but one of the coldest spiritual places I've ever been. Literally. They were asking me in customs how I got paid to be there. And I told them I worked with the church, and they never heard of such. And so that was a customs agent. And they literally asked me if my check was coming from the Vatican in Rome. And I tried to explain it, and I couldn't. And so anyway, if you're going to Canada, please don't tell them that you're working with the church because they don't understand it. Just tell them you're going to see a friend. But anyway, I say that to say they have a tough culture. But because they did a vision initiative and asked people to give to margin, that's it, guys, to margin. To margin. They've increased their budget that much. So it's not a shenanigan. It really, really works. And so I know what you might be thinking. That's great for them, but what about me? Now, I'm going to walk you through some practical things that we can do to help you in this communication aspect and help you and your church communicate about money. Because here's the deal. If you just do a vision initiative, people get ticked off and they're going to leave. If you just do the personal financial series, if you just do the annual report, you can't, guys. You've got to have an entire strategy, just like you have a strategy for your children's ministry, just like you have a strategy for your student ministry, like you have a strategy for your worship services. You've got to have a funding strategy. Wake up to this. This is very important, and understand it. But here's the deal. We know that you don't have the time to do it. So here's what we do. GivingRocket.com is a time-saving, done-for-you financial membership system. That's what it is. We save you time and we do stuff for you. And here are the 5 member benefits and how it ties into talking about money and what we're able to do with you. And I think these are huge. You can write down some of these. I think this is one of those things that could be a game changer for you actually doing this correctly, is that we give you 52 giving talks a year, $259 value a month, because we are writing these things. And you say, what is a giving talk? It is a short explanation of how the offering works, plus a call to action. And so in what we're talking about today, guys, here's the deal. 52 weeks a year, you should be talking about money before you take an offering. Even if you have offering buckets in the back, or people say they don't pass baskets, and they do all this other kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. You need to have a talk every week. You have 52 opportunities a year with 52 great opportunities with all your donors, with all the people in your church sitting there to communicate with them and giving talks. We write that for you every single week because we know that you don't have the time to do it. I know how it is, guys. We've worked in church staff. Our team has. And so we know how that is. And so we write those for you. Check this out about what this guy did just by doing the giving talks. Tonight, this is a tweet, in case you're wondering. My battery was half dead. It was 11 o'clock at night, and I got this tweet. And as you can see, AT&T actually had a couple of bars up here. You can see it right here. Actually had a couple of bars, which is very, very, very rare because their service stinks. And so I'm moving to Verizon soon. But anyway, this is a tweet that I got from Adolfo, I can't say that, 73. And he said, tonight we started for the first time with the giving talks, and our offerings collected tripled from the usual Thursday average. Now, guys, I can't make this stuff up. This is a tweet that I got at 10:54 or 11:09, wherever it came in. you have the same opportunity to do this. And that was in June 9th. And so doing a giving talk every week, if you're wanting to write down things to do, you definitely want to do a giving talk every single week and talk creatively about the offering, but then call people to action and call people to give. And when you start talking about it every week, again, it eases the tension. It eases the tension when you do make the financial ask that people don't get ticked off. The other thing is done for you donor communications. Guys, you need stuff to copy and paste into an email or into direct mail that you send to them and watch your giving go up. Check this out, okay? This is the kind of communications you want to be sending out to your donors. Literally what we did on this is we write this, we send it to all of our members, and we say, hey, Cross Church family, everywhere there's yellow, you plug in your church or your name or your mission statement. I'm not sending this email to everyone in our church, but I want to take a moment to especially thank you. The mission of this church is to create passionate followers of Jesus. Now, again, you would insert yours there. We can't write everybody's different mission. I want you to know that you're a huge part of helping us accomplish this mission through your financial sacrifice. You may not know it, but check this out, guys. This is huge, very strategic copywriting here. But you are one of the top contributors to our church. I'm not going to give you a trophy, and God doesn't love you anymore for your gifts to Him, but I want you to know that I appreciate you. I'm thankful that you're generously supporting Cross Church even when times may be tough. If you ever have any questions, please let me know. And if you ever need anything, Kelly and I, or whoever it is, are here for you. Your donations have led to life change and restoration. Thanks for jumping in with us, and I'm praying that God will bless you greatly for your generosity. I'm so thankful for you, John. And so you just get this, and this is the kind of communication you need to be sending out consistently to your donors. My question for you right now is, when's the last time you sent an email like this to some of your top donors? When's the last time you sent a letter specifically to them? What we do in churches, now this is why, again, why people get ticked off, is that we don't communicate well. You've got to communicate in small niches. You don't just send out blasts to everybody all the time. You have to treat different donor groups differently. High capacity donors, this is the kind of stuff you send out there to them, or you send, again, you may send to them through email or whatever, but this is a huge type letter type email. You can just copy this, copy and paste it. We do that for you guys, okay? But this, as in talk about money all year, this is the kind of communications you want to be sending out throughout the year. We also have a resource vault, and in our resource vault, the Resource Vault has tons of samples, ideas, documents, and resources to help you talk about generosity in an exciting way. And so we have all of this stuff that you can just go download. We're trying to create the Google of financial documents for churches. That's what we're trying to create. And have this big, huge library where you can go get any communications done for you and download it. Now check this out. This is why you need to be sending communications. This is why you need to be communicating throughout the year. Pastor Cope, this is on Twitter, at Casey Graham. That's me. Send me a tweet right now if you want to. I'd love to connect with you. It said send out Q1, which is first quarter statements. Now, here's another tip. Are you sending out quarterly statements? Again, we just sent out quarterly statements, and you need to be sending one out right now for the second quarter. Why send it out only one time a year? Communicating with people. This is what keeps people engaged in the game. We sent out quarterly contribution statements today via email. That's huge. It cost them no money to do this. Within 5 minutes, I had someone sign up for recurring giving, which is giving online in a recurring way, and another giving online. Why wouldn't we do this? Communicating with people. And so that's what our resource vault is full of. Stuff like that. And that's where he got that. He sent it out, and it was awesome. Okay? And so coaching. We give you step-by-step coaching on what to do next to fund your vision. Done for you financial systems. We easy plug-and-play systems into your church to see a giving increase. First-time giver systems, all the donor systems. And so with the coaching as well, we do monthly webinars just like this for our members. But here's the deal with this webinar. I can tell you what to do, but I don't have time to tell you how to do all of this kind of stuff. And so with our members, we are able to drill down further and allow them to do that. So here's the deal, guys. I want you to become a member in the next 24 hours, and we're going to give you a bunch of sign-up bonuses. You can see them right here. Guys, this is a couple $100 and stuff that we're just going to give you if you sign up within the next 24 hours. You can see we got a whole seminar where I talk through all of this for 2.5 hours that you get immediately. You get the 52 creative ways to take up the offering. You get it. You get 52 creative ways to do it. You don't even think about it. Special report, the 4 shocking truths of church finances, the natural streams of fundraising you never knew existed, teleseminar. Biannual calling days, double your digital giving resource. And guys, this is actually Automate the Important resource at the bottom is a $299 resource we sell all the time that you get if you sign up in the next 24 hours. And here's the best part. You're only going to have to risk $1 for 4 months. We have completely demolished the financial barrier between churches and high-priced financial consulting because we think your church needs this. I want every church to do this. I'm so fired up to help you with this stuff because here's what you're going to get. You're going to get over $2,000 for in our membership system and bonuses just by signing up. Guys, our membership is only $99.97 a month. If we can't help you increase your giving that much, if you say I don't have enough money to invest in that and we can't help you do, if we can't help you do that, we need to be out of this business. We need to quit serving churches. We should be hung. This is so easy to do. But my question is, are you willing to do it? And so here's the special offer that we want to do for you today. Special offer is a 2-month trial membership for only $1. And then here's what we're going to do. You get another 2 months where you're going to pay because you need to be committed to this, but you get a guarantee on it. And so, guys, at the end of the day, that's only 4 months, and you only risk $1. Now, I'm going to take your dollar. I promise it's not going to pay my bills. But it's only $1 risk for 4 entire months for us to help you. And you can see at the bottom of the screen, givingrocket.com/trial, and you can jump into this, and we're going to help you communicate with donors all year without ticking people off. And guys, I'm telling you, every week, every Tuesday, we send a member email out with copy and paste communication with all of this stuff. So you get it, you plug it in. And guys, frankly, just the webinars where we tell you what to do next are worth more than $97 a month. And so, again, jump over there. We've only got a certain amount of these that we can give. givingrocket.com/trial. And we've got over 100 churches on this call. And I'm assuming we'll have about 50% of you guys jumping over there. Well, they already are jumping over there. That's cool. So people are already going and givingrocket.com trial membership. Okay. So I wanted to let you know about that because I think we can help you with this whole thing. Now, let's get back to talking about a couple of things, a couple of strategies. The one thing you must never say when talking about money, this is one thing you must never say when you're communicating with your church about money is this. If this is your first time here, we don't want you to give. If this is your first time here, we don't want you to give. And you would say, what in the world? Why are you even talking about that? Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about this, because it's not true. That would be like me saying right now, hey, if it's your first time on the webinar, I don't want you to be a member of our system. That's a lie. That's a lie. Now, you don't have to do it. We want you to do it. But at the same time, it's a lie to say, hey, if you're first time, we don't want you to give. If you had a billionaire come sit in your church and was going to give you $1 million that day, then you do want them to give. So don't ever say that when you're communicating about money, because then you're going to create a barrier here that says there's two different types of people. There's people give and don't give, and we got this barrier. No. You want to communicate with them from day one through your offering talks that today's the day to give. Today's the day to start, and communicate consistently throughout the year, and you will create a culture where people are used to you talking about money. So start, if it's somebody's first day in the giving talk, you would say something like this. It may be your first time here, and what we're about to do is take up an offering. And you may say, what in the world is that? Well, there's going to be some baskets that go by you. And what people do is they pull out their checkbook and they give to this. And you say, well, why in the world would you do that? And then you can go on to explain to them why they should be a part of it and why they should give. Start early. In too many churches, we're waiting. And what you do when you wait and you allow people, it's like somebody coming to a gym and just sitting there and watching TV. It doesn't make any sense. Immediately starting to work out. Immediately get them in the program. And you guys immediately should be moving people to give. This is a huge mistake churches make, and don't make it any more. Okay? And this is random, but when we're talking about how to not tick people off, I want to give you some strategies that you may disagree with. I don't know. Different churches have different strategies on this, but I'm going to say some of the best churches I've ever worked with. I'm going to give you how do you respond when people question your motives? How do you respond when people may get ticked off? And how do you keep this from happening consistently? How do you keep a good communication flow going? And so the first thing I would tell you, and now this is just general church stuff, is to keep an open book policy with your church's finances. Keep an open book policy with your church's finances. To think that you can just keep closed book and don't tell people where the money's going is hogwash. You talk about a shenanigan, that is a shenanigan. And I'm going to tell you why it is. I'm going to tell you why I'm convinced that you should have an open policy. It's not your money. It's their money. It's all of our money. We're all giving to this. And so we should have the right and the opportunity to be able to look at this. Now, you don't give people what the pastor's salary is and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that. You can condense it down, but you want to keep an open book policy so people can see where it's going. And when people know you have an open book policy, and actually when you talk about that in your giving talks on the weekend, people are way less leery about where the money is going. It actually works opposite. The second thing I would tell you to do is to have a financial advisory team. And I hope every church on this call has some sort of financial advisory team where it's not just a pastor making the decisions and it's just one person doing it and that kind of stuff. And so having a financial advisory team is not a board that just tells you what to do and that you have to get yes or no's from. A financial advisory team is a group of people. Now, here's who I'd have on that team. I could do a whole call on this, but I would have some entrepreneurs. I'd have maybe an accountant, different types of people. I would have a creative people. I wouldn't have just financial people. Guys, do not have just bankers. Do not have just accountants. Have some different types, different genres of people on this team. And what you want to do with them is you want to communicate. And you'd say, well, why would you want to have a non-financial person on the financial team? Because here's why. Because if you can't communicate with them what you're doing with their money and it makes sense to them, then it's not going to make sense to your people. So have a creative on your team. Have somebody that doesn't even care about money. And they're going to keep you balanced as well. And so have a mix there. And this will help you. And when you communicate in your membership classes and on the weekends, you can tell people, hey, we have a financial advisory team. I'm telling you guys, this is very, very, very good for people to hear because then they trust that, hey, there's some other people there and that kind of stuff. The third thing I would say is help people understand where the money goes. And you can use weekly giving talks to do this. Now, this is an example of Long Hollow Church in Nashville, Tennessee did a great job where they broke out a dollar bill and literally showed it to people. So you can see that 12 cents on this first one over here, right here it says, go global with the gospel. 12 cents of every dollar, 12.1 cents of every dollar goes to going global. Missions, help the hurting, 12 cents. You can see that. Impact the next generation, 26 cents. Gather for worship. And so we show people, do life together. That's awesome. Increase our ministry capacity. And so we can break that down and show people. Now, I've actually got we got a website coming out where you just enter in your categories and it spits something like this back out too. So we'll let you know when that comes out. But that's going to be awesome. And you literally can just get a graphic, put it on the screen, and this will help you significantly communicating where your money is going. This will take the skeptics down and you'll just show people, here's what happens. Here's where the money is going. And so the other thing, that's kind of an off-the-wall type stuff that you go, how does that fit? I'm telling you, those things matter when you're communicating about money to keep people from getting ticked off and to do it in a positive way. Now I'm going to talk about the last thing is making a financial ask in a positive way. And here's the deal. You need to ask no more than 3 times a year for people to give. And what I mean by that is 3 big times a year. Not the weekly giving talks and all that stuff, but you don't want to spend every message, every series, and all that kind of stuff begging people for money. I've been in churches that do that. It's terrible. So there's 3 good times a year to do it. And here's what they are. It's the big Easter offering. You should do a huge Easter offering. It really, really, really works. It works well. You can do a year-end gift offering. You need to do a year-end gift offering every year. It works really, really, really well. We have resources on all this stuff. And then also you want to do that Vision Initiative series. That Vision Initiative series. And that can either be in the spring or I would recommend even for more impact being in the fall. It's a great opportunity for that. So that ask 3 times a year. And where people get sideways with churches a lot is when you're begging for money for every little thing. The other thing I say is don't get up there and talk about everybody's golf tournament they're putting on. Talk about everybody's stuff that they're doing. Keep it focused and keep it clear when you're asking for money. This is huge. That you need to drip vision before what we say drop vision. You need to drip. You need to communicate to your teams behind the scenes before you come out and start asking people for money. If you're going to ask for money, do it the right way. This actually might be the most powerful thing that we talk about on today's call, because I'm going to tell you how to drip vision and how to lay out a financial ask for people. Is you always want to start with staff and do not leave this out, Spouses. The spouses are some of the most left out people when it comes to funding vision. When I do on-site consulting, I love to talk to the spouses. And I say, what do you think about this? And oftentimes they're clueless and don't even know what's going on, because I know when I worked at church, I never came home and talked about all this stuff and all the different things. And so the spouses, you want to communicate with them. And so if you're ever going to be asking for money, you want to get them over to your house, that kind of thing. If you're the senior pastor, and you want to communicate with staff and spouses, make sure we're all on the same page going in the right direction. Then you move out to elders and finance team. Elders and finance team. And when you're dripping this out, so if you have a set of elders, if you have a finance team or whatever, you have a board, it doesn't matter. You want to drip it to that's the next layer. Then you want to move to this. This is where we miss it a lot of times. We'll do those top two, but this is where I miss it, is financial and ministry leaders. Anytime you're going to be asking for money publicly, you want to make sure that you've communicated behind the scenes to financial leaders. Now that's people who are your financial leaders. It's simple to understand. Maybe your top 10, top 15% of people in your church. And then there's ministry leaders that you want to communicate with. That's people who are small group leaders. That's people who run like the first impressions team or greeters or whatever you call it. You want to, your children's coaches and children's, not everybody that works in children's ministry, the leaders of it. And you want to drip it out always before you talk to them. Involved people. Then you take it down, but again, before you ever ask for any money in any way, you want to communicate it behind the scenes to even involve people who are in a small group. Let them know what's coming. Let people know what's coming. It's so funny, actually. Somebody told me one time that people let you do a lot of things to them when you just let them know what you're going to do. They just don't like surprises, and I started to see that be very true in this area. So involve people, and then last, your entire church. Now that's when you do it. Now what we do as churches is that we start here usually with the entire people. Maybe our staff knows, but we leave out all these layers in the middle of communicating with people, and what I call drip the vision before you do this, before you drop the vision on people. And so you want to drip before you drop. Drip before you drop. Always remember that. And you want to use public environments to cast vision and create momentum. And that's a huge way to do that. And coming up in the fall is very, very, very important. Now, guys, I know we talked about a ton of different strategies today. Usually it's just on one thing, but there's so much in communicating about money. And so, guys, I want you to go ahead and jump over for $1 risk for up to 4 months, givingrocket.com/trial, and I want you to sign up in the next 24 hours and you get all the bonuses. If it's after the next 24 hours, we're not giving you the bonuses, okay? In the next 24 hours, you get all of the bonuses that we give you, and you only risk $1. So go over there now. We already have people. Yes, we already have, people are already just jumping over there. And so that's awesome that that's happening. And you have the opportunity to jump in. And we want you to be a member because we want to help you increase giving in your church. And this is just a way that we're going to help you. And this is just kind of a taste for what some of our webinars will be like. But we'll definitely get more detail. We want to communicate with you more often, and definitely want you to become a member. GivingRocket.com /trial. And man, we look forward to connecting with you, and we look forward to adding value to you and your ministry to increase your operational giving. Again, my name is Casey Graham, founder of GivingRocket.com. So fired up that we had this opportunity to talk today. And man, look forward to seeing you over on the membership side. See ya. Bye.